Oh, yeah.
No, we can do that too. Well, there's some response,
All right, thank you for bearing with us. We're running a little late today, but we'd like to get the meeting started. And this January 23rd, 2023 meeting of the Board of Directors of High Point Academy. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And by a normal practice, we read the mission and vision statements of High Point Academy. And read Israel will do that.
High Point Academy's mission is cultivating lifelong learners in a student-centered environment. High Point Academy's vision is to be an exemplary school of choice for academically minded families.
Thank you, Emery. And for the reading of the 3 R's, we have Latika Benson.
The 3 R's. We practice the 3 R's. Rights, the right to quality education, the right to a safe environment, the right to reach my potential. Respect. I will respect my classmates. I will respect my teachers. I will respect myself. Responsibility. I am responsible for my education. I am responsible for my actions. I am responsible for my opportunities.
Thank you. And Eduardo, can you do our invocation?
I got you. Dear Lord Jesus, we come to you at the beginning of this new year with our many feelings, expectations, and hopes. Please guide us as we transition from time spent with family and friends during the holidays back into the classroom and our work. Give us a new perspective to see our events, our students, families, and each other as an invitation to use the gifts you've given us to be used in service for others. Finally, let us continue exemplifying the values of honor, integrity, service, as we support our mission and vision statements while giving us the courage to do the right thing. And this is the last minute note I wanted to add. Russell Mahaffey, our high school principal, his daughter was in a car accident last night and went into surgery this morning, and unfortunately she it was successful and she was discharged this afternoon. So I just wanted to offer up our thoughts and prayers for a healthy and speedy recovery for her and relief for Mr. Mahaffey with his family. Amen.
All right, now we have the approval of the meeting agenda. So, okay, we have a couple amendments to it. Actually, 3 amendments that need to be done. Letter G, we need to take that out, well, replace it with a receipt of legal advice, the wellness policy. So right now it says pending contractual arrangements, so we need to amend it to, the wellness policy, receipt of legal advice. And then we need to amend it for all the references in it to M. Nesper and change that to D. Hawk. And then we can get a motion to approve as amended. Yeah. Changing letter G. We'll change letter G to the wellness policy and all the references to M. Nesper to D. Hawk. Can I get a motion to approve? All right, Alex and Latika. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any nays? All right, it's approved. All right. According to our records, we do not have any public comments today, so we can move on from that to the student spotlight. Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Lancaster, you're first. So, we just did our winter math testing. Tonight, we're gonna highlight our highest scores from 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Maybe. I want to tap in the right spot. All right, so if you will come up front when I call you, and we'll you can be recognized. I'll tilt this way so y'all can see it. Lila Drummond. So Lila had the highest in math and reading. And just put it in perspective for you, Lila is a 3rd grader, and her reading score was the same as the national norm for an 11th grader. And her math was the same as a 6th grader, so very proud of her. In 4th grade, we had for ELA, Maya Vogel. She scored above a 12th grade level. And then a familiar face to our academic recognition, his SC Ready score, we have Mason Bailey. He was the highest in 4th grade. He scored at a 10th grade level in 4th grade. In the 5th grade ELA, we have Ariana Ivanov. She also scored above a 12th grade level. And then for math, we have Cooper Wilson. Above the 12th grade level. And Cooper, to go ahead and answer your next question, even though you scored higher than a senior, you still have to take the test. So we are proud of y'all, and we will get y'all your certificates tomorrow.
There we go. In the 8th grade, students were given the opportunity to take the PSAT, and we had 5 students this year who qualified to be junior scholars, which means that they scored above a 550 on the reading or a 530 on the math portion. I'm not seeing any of my children. Isabel Bill,
Layla Hendricks, Cameron Wilson, Phoenix Lupapine, and Taylor Mabry. Most of them are playing sports tonight in the gym, so we will recognize them tomorrow, but we're really proud of their accomplishments.
Last semester, we gave our end of course examinations at the high school. There we go. And the goal here for our end of course test, of course, is to document student mastery in certain academic subjects. And tonight, we are pleased to recognize 11 of our students who had perfect scores on the end of course tests. So if you would please come up, receiving a perfect score on the biology test, Ishmael Gonzalez. Adeline McPeters. Receiving a perfect score in English 2, Emily Brown. Lila Davis. David Cepeda. Chase Courtney. Angelina Demitovich. Pepperoski. Jasmine Huey. Jacob Lark. And we had one student who received a perfect score on both the biology and English, Kylie Lark. Thank you all very much and congratulations.
Congratulations to all the students here tonight, and if you all do not want to stick around for the rest of the meeting, you can be dismissed now. If you're here for the student spotlight, what we just did, you can take off now.
You can always stay for this exciting meeting. Bad. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
See if you guys get like popcorn.
Yeah, let's do it also.
Read the minute.
All right, y'all. Next is board business. We have the approval of the minutes from December 5th, 2022. So take a look at those, if you don't mind. Y'all have any changes to it? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from December 5th, 2022?
I second, Joe.
Eduardo. Second by Eduardo. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say aye. All right. Motion passes. And Anne Marie, and David, we have the November, December financial report.
You want to see this?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take these out.
Okay.
There it is.
So just the formatting real quick, we moved the original budget over to the right-hand side just to make it easier, to read and recognize that this remaining budget are being calculated off of that revised budget column, but it still has there for reference. The original budget that was approved back in June. We did the revision, I think last time was here in October, so no revisions right now, just a few lines to point out. The interest income line up here, is over, we knew it would be over, I'm just mentioning it because when we get to the balance sheet, I'm gonna, show you where the investment account, is located, First Baptist, not First Baptist. First Citizens. Alright, also on the revenue side, since it's a large number there, you can see that $170,000, $150,000 came in that line as part of the Clemson grant. And I'll show that expense as well, so it's also gonna look over on that side of things. The state aided classrooms line, the budget of 13.3 million is based off of a student count of 1240, and I think the 45 bid count was 1250. So that's an update on where that's actually changing things. The overall percent remaining in revenue is at 48.8%. 50% overall is kind of what you want to see on all these lines within standard deviation. So this is that line that I mentioned that the Clemson grant came through, and so that's why it's over. It's over $100,000 was expensed to for the Clemson grant was reimbursed with that revenue that also was in that revised budget we did. The only other one I think. Okay, so staff training, a lot of that is federal grants, which first of all, the only federal grant revenue and expenses that you see budgeted are the salaries, the rest are supplies and whatnot that would get reimbursed. A lot of that is front loaded, like tickets and stuff for staff training in the future. So it's not like how much actually occurred in December as far as training goes. The actual bottom line through December 31st or July 1st to December 31st, an operating loss of $244,000. The revised budget is to be in a gain of $291,000 as of June 30th. And just for reference, November was a gain of $100,000 on the total. December was $80,000 or almost $90,000 to the good. As well, so it's actually getting closer to that range. And then on the balance sheet here is that for citizens investment accounts, like $2 million was transferred from the operating account at the end of November, and I think the last day almost of November, and then December happened, and so you basically got $7,000 of gains in just that 1 month in that investment account. So that's really good. And I think just reflecting the bottom line again, I was gonna scroll all the way to the bottom, but that's all just to show the $89,000 in the good, that's all scrolling.
Like here,
Are there any questions on any of those things or anything else that you really, else?
Yeah.
First, that was thanks.
Yeah. Possible first that.
All right, Katie, can you go to the vote? second.
You're next, superintendent's report.
All right.
Get ahead of that.
Sorry.
You're trying to speed it up.
I just wanted to get a sense of that. You're doing good.
You started.
Our quote today, most of you know Winston Churchill was the leader of England during World War II. It was Winston Churchill that refused to bow to Nazi Germany and kept England in the war. Had he surrendered, the United States may have never entered the war, and we may have a completely different landscape than we do today. And Winston Churchill is the one. For those of you who don't know, Winston Churchill, as a young man, was kind of like me and Russell Lynch. He had a little bit of what we call an attitude problem. He did not like authority, and he was kicked out of several parochial schools as a young man. On top of all that, he had an unbelievable will to win. And so after the war and after everything that had happened, they asked Winston Churchill, "What are your thoughts?" And he said this: "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue." And there are some days as principals and leaders in this building, it's just the courage to continue that makes us go, because some days you win and some days you lose big. But it's that ability to get up the next day, get dressed, come to work, and do it all over again that makes a difference in the lives of our children. So. Sandy.
Good. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. I'm gonna stay back here. We just want to say congratulations are in order. Come out.
Bring him out.
This is huge. This is huge. David Pascal, who is our athletic director, he received the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association, NIAAA, as a certified athletic administrator. And he had to receive like almost a perfect score, right? To receive the certificate. And so we are honored to receive the certification. So we are honored and we celebrate you. And we just want to say congratulations, David. We want the board to know that you received this esteemed honor.
Thank you.
Hey, can you tell us a little bit about what's involved in this and the classes and all you had to do?
So the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators is not only nationally known, it's also international. They have an international section as well. They have 3 different levels of certification. The first one that you go is just a registered athletic administrator. So as long as you are working as an athletic administrator somewhere, you can achieve that. To the certified athletic administrators is the second year. You need to have done at least 2 years. You need to have done at least 2 years in athletic field. You need to have run a certain amount of events. There's basically a rubric, that mini checklist of have you done enough to qualify for it. There's also the NIAAA has a lot of courses that deals with all the different aspects of budgeting and sports law and stuff that they have already predetermined that you have to take at least 6 on top of some others in order to qualify. And then once you have made sure that you've checked everything, then there's a 100-question test that you have to take. And standardized test, you can take that as well, and then pass to be able to achieve that. And then the next level is the final level is what's called a CMAA, which is a certified master athletic administrator, which is after you've done at least 5 years, you are in essence doing a thesis or a presentation on some aspect that you have, a term that you run or whatever when it comes to that. So, yes.
Fantastic.
So when he takes these courses, if you ever go to one of these events, there's all kinds of courses that go around this. And, there's been a lot of talk about violence at ball games and how to deal with that, how to deal with the unruly guests. There is law.
So at the conference that I went to in December, I was in a class all focused on budgeting. Another one was focused on facility creation, starting facilities, like where do you go from there? Another session in there was trying to promote girls in sports, trying to also promote multi-sport athletes. Basically, there is a course, if it's involved in athletics, they have a course or some session already talking about, there's a board that we're just in a group chain right now where we're talking about NILs because it's in college and everything trickles down. So, and how all that aspect goes, but those courses are available and at the national conference in December, and then there's also the state conference. Our state is a dual certification. So if you were certified in the SCAAA, the South Carolina Athletic Administrators, you also get that, and they offer courses there as well.
So it's hard. South Carolina probably has one of the highest percentages in the nation, but nationwide, where's the percentage of people who do this?
There's not a lot. I mean, the percentages is growing. The southeastern region is the biggest out of the nation when it comes to that. Our group of southeastern states has the highest out of all of the high schools. But off the top of my head, I do not know the percentages.
But it's very low. There's very few that have this. This is important to me, and it's also at some point next year or the year after, he's gonna start a program where all of our coaches start going through these courses as well. Getting our coaches involved, so if they do move up, they've already got all this coursework under them. And it helps us if we have problems or issues. You go to court, you can say, well, this coach is taking this course, or athletic director is taking this course. It just helps us, and Mary Allison will test, anything you have on your resume that states you've done training with your people, when you get into that legal situation, all that, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, no, you're making a great point. Any kind of training you've done, if there's a student injury or a disruption at a game, and all of this will be very important.
And to even be qualified as an RAA, you have to take at least 5. And 2 of those courses are sports law, and basically all the ways you can learn to be fired. And all of the stuff beforehand. So yes, there's a lot of that, and it's always they're always evolving these courses. These are also, there's a lot of work that goes into where they prepare it. So these are accredited for the nation and seen as courses for professional development and all that, and they throughout.
And also there's quite a bit in there on Title IX as well.
And we talk about Title IX. I mean, it's in every facet of it. I mean, in the budget, main key was making sure you're Title IX and dealing with that. So there's all those aspects of anything that is involved in sports. I mean, I'm sure there'll be something that there'll be a re-emphasis on age now that DeMar Hamlin had his thing football game. There's going to be more. I mean, we're already starting to see more stuff on that. So.
Well, an example, if this young man decides he wants to give $10,000 to build a batting cage for the baseball team, we cannot do that unless we have an equal facility for the softball.
Will it be shared by will the softball team share? Will be located? Do we have stuff allocated for that? Are they equal? Because you have to be able to provide that equal opportunity. So making sure you check all that. It's not just as simple of thank you for your money. It's making sure that it gets allocated properly.
And so every move we make, we have to be cognizant of all of those things. So we don't find ourselves on the wrong side of the law using somebody's services. Thank you, Dan.
Yep, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sandy, you're up again.
Okay, letters of intent were issued and they are returned. And we do that early just so we can get an idea of what's going on. If we have any surprises or we never know. But hopefully everything looks good on that part, thanks to our wonderful principals. New employees, HVAC tech, we have HVAC technician, custodian, and a high school math teacher. We have one job opening, which is the director of finance, and we're doing interviews on Wednesday. Yes, we're having interviews on Wednesday for that. The personal leave bank, the bank has been implemented, and we have 18 people who have donated days already. So we were pretty excited about that. Recruitment dates, really busy for spring recruitment dates. We have Bob Jones, February 9th, North Greenville University, February 13th, University of South Carolina, February 15th, College of Charleston, February 24th, and South Carolina Public Charter School District on March 4th. So I'll be doing all these career fairs with, I'll be taking some, Shelley will be going to a lot of them with me, and Marsha Clark, and then they'll be going with me to these career, college career. Mr. Sherman is going to a couple with me. And so we're just excited, and the principals are always there. Everything is going good with Human Resources. Thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
all right.
it's going to-
On the building management system, I have a handout for the board. Do y'all want it now? Give it an executive, okay. We'll talk about that more in depth. I've got the rep of the person we're recommending to award the contract to is here tonight, doing something in the executive session on that. HVAC position is Phil Pinson. If you hadn't met him, you will. He's a big old burly looking guy, just as a gentle giant kind of guy. Has hit the ground, just kind of fitting in, getting things done. Just a real good guy, good hire, and long term for us, it'll be a big deal for us. Long term on savings here on HVAC. And we'll talk about more of that other part of it later. He'll be here for the install of that too, which was part of my intent, was to have that HVAC guy on staff by the time we had that install. Lunchroom, we have USDA audit that starts tomorrow. It's across the board, financials and the whole 9 yards. Starts tomorrow. Tammy Evers is always on top of this thing, and she's not disappointed here. We met with Christy Paula just last week or so, a couple times. We're squared away for that. Probably drive Ada nuts for a day, but she'll be all right. Wellness policy, we're gonna talk about that. I know you, executive session, I got you. That's been revised to kind of just meet, just more up to date. It's just more up to date is what we needed. Did I have anything else? Is that it? All right, we'll talk more about the BMS system and the executive.
Our enrollment campaign is underway, as we talked about last month. The digital campaign started about 2 weeks ago, and we did put one of the videos in the presentation so you could see kind of what they look like if you haven't already seen them on some kind of social media or your website.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're trending on Marketplace, in case anybody was wondering.
Which high school I wanted. This is a big decision between me and my mom of what we wanted my high school experience to be. And we both decided that it would be best for me to go to a smaller school to where it's more personal and you make better connections with everyone around you.
They're just little clips, and I think that one started a couple minutes in, but they're either between 15 and 30 seconds. I think, Eduardo, yours launched yesterday or the day before. Did you see it? Yes. We used a couple from last year, and it was so successful last year, right? It's kind of like Where's Waldo, as I mentioned, so we couldn't have a campaign without you. And then the Valpak coupons that you get in the mail dropped at the 30,000 households in the past few days. Those were really inexpensive and cover a very large area around us, but it did not cover the small area right around the school. So Mr. Sherman wanted to make sure that we covered them some way in print, and that postcard that you see up there, I think it mailed on Friday, and it covers that area right around our school that the other mailing didn't. Typically, they don't market. Typically, they don't market to that area, so they had to do a special mailing for us to make sure we hit those homes, and that's 5,000 homes in our real immediate area, so.
And well, the reason for doing that is Justin Richards, our assistant principal, did some data poll, and I think him and Ms. Harris realized that most of their new students were within 3 miles of the school. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to make sure we hit all these new neighborhoods, and we talked about going door to door, putting out signs, but we feel like we hit with several thousand direct mailers to all these neighborhoods and communities right around us. It was a little expensive, but we feel like it was a good move on our part to get that in their hands. And it's not the value pack coupon, it's the other thing there. And there's a QR code on the back of that, is there not?
Yes, it's actually on the front, if you can see it in the lower right.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with the bell pack.
So they can take that QR code and go directly to our website. So we spent quite a bit of money to have that, based on what we found, what we were told. We wanted to make sure that we offered that to everybody around us to try to attract those people.
But just a tiny bit cheaper than if we had, more expensive than if we had hand delivered, so it really wasn't like super expensive.
Connie, that coupon pack,
Mm-hmm.
did you, as soon as you opened it, High Point Academy is right on top.
I know, that was-
So was that planned or?
Yes, that guy is so great. We are only doing January and February, but we hadn't done it since last year, and I asked and he said, sure, no extra cost or anything. The guy who worked with the Valpak, which originally was something Christie suggested, he has been fantastic. So when I said, can you send to these, he's like, well, typically we don't market to that area around you because it's a lower income area, but they were the ones who did the postcards for us, so.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you saw that. Thank you.
Chinese restaurant coupon, you know.
Can I ask Ray, can you tell them what you said about your coupons?
Who's that?
Oh, I think she wants me to share that if you ever
Yes.
get one of these, every now and then they have $100 check in them. And it is actually a legitimate check for $100.
Which I didn't know.
If you have not been opening your value packs, you
I
should.
threw it.
No, it's serious.
I didn't know.
Connie, how many have signed up for this school year, that coming school year already?
We're weeding everybody out with the duplicates and the people who didn't need to sign up, who were not new students. We have 183 at this point.
So we just opened and we already have 183 key people. And what we think, last year we had over 900 sign up, but when we go with registration online, last year we would try to get a hold of a family, see if they're coming back, they wouldn't call us. By the time we got an answer from them and reached out to somebody, they already made plans. With our new online, we'll send them an email. They don't respond back in 2 weeks, we'll take them out and we'll get somebody else. We feel like we have enough people signing up, we just weren't getting to them in time. And so we're thinking this new management system is gonna help us tremendously. Plus, our principals automatically see what's coming in. We don't have to go through a paper thing. Our principals can see, and then they have to approve before they accept. So our principals get to look at what's going on and what's happening, which I think is very valuable to get their eyes on it before we do something, because they may know things that I don't, or that somebody up here don't know about the students and what's going on. So thank you, Connie. Hard work. It's coming together. Yes, sir.
Where were we at this time last year? Do we know?
Last year, this time, Connie?
We hadn't actually started any kind of campaign, so we naturally get, like, it actually opens up in December, and we had a good 50 to 60 right off the bat who were just waiting and without any kind of notification, so we're a good bit ahead of last year.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
To choosing which high school I want.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an update on our data. And what you're seeing there, the box on the left is what I showed you in the fall when they first took the map test. And then over on the right is how we did this past testing time in the winter time. And you'll see just like last time, this is the percentage of students that are currently at or above grade level in reading. This is elementary reading. And you'll notice that you see that, like, for example, in K-5, it went from 48% to 52%. And so you can kind of look at those to see how we have improved. And we have improved across the board. I will say that the percentages that you see in red, they indicate that while we fell short of meeting that like national average goal, the average written is in green because they did improve. So for example, in first grade, if you go back to the average writ is 152 in the fall, you see it was 160 in the winter. So even though they may not have met that target with meeting the national average, they still improved. So we did see improvement across the board. And as we're going through the slides and you're looking at this, I have a few points I want you to just keep in mind. One, and I had mentioned this a little bit earlier, I think I was talking to you guys, we don't have any hard data on this yet, but we're starting to, there's like a trend that is starting to emerge. And we're starting to notice that there's a discrepancy in the scores that we're seeing of the students that are new to High Point and the students that we've had over at High Point. So we're tracking that trend, and what we're hoping that trend is saying is that we're doing the right thing to improve those kids. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing I want you to keep in mind is, if you'll notice, we've had a lot of discussions about fourth grade. You see there's a struggle in fourth grade, but we want you to keep in mind that fourth grade, remember, these kids are in the first grade, learning to read, just new to school when COVID hit. And so then they spent most of second grade, they had that, they were, sometimes they were here, sometimes we were out. It was a really choppy time. And so we are really, I think we're still making gains and growth, but we're still having to work to close those gaps. And so you can see that that's gonna be trending and rippling throughout the years as they move through the grades, because they were affected.
Shelley, can I stop? Me and Gray were talking today. Gray, tell them what you told me, what we found out about third grade today.
Yeah, so, well, I'll say this too. So first, and fourth grade also have our highest concentration of brand new teachers. And even though they are doing a great job, there's a difference between a brand new first year teacher and a teacher that's been doing it for 5, 6, 10 years. And in third grade is also the grade, if you remember, there was a year that we had to cut our kindergarten assistants. That was those kids. So we're seeing now that.
We did what we had to, but we're still paying for that decision.
And that shows you their impact to our program, how valuable they are. And then the last thing, as we go through the rest of the slides, and then we go through the rest of the slides, I want you to keep in mind that NWEA, the company of math, they are renorming this year. So they are redoing all those charts with all those averages. So that means that we highly anticipate that renorming is going to involve, they're going to go down. Those averages are going to go down because of COVID. And so that's something to keep in mind, because as we're looking at the slides, you'll notice that for the most part, our kids are meeting or exceeding pre-COVID norms. So that's very encouraging. So we'll go on to the next one, and the next one's going to be elementary math. Okay, and so you can see improvement across the board. That fourth grade, again, yes, that average is lower, but the average rate did improve. Let you take that in for a minute. If you have any questions, just holler and say, we'll go back if we need to.
And we can send the board this PowerPoint if you'd like.
If you'd like a closer look.
We'd like to do that.
Okay, we'll go to middle school. The same trends we noticed, like I said, it's across the board. In middle school, all of these averages went improved, so they're on track for where they need to be. And so what we do in spring is look all the way throughout the year to see that growth. Okay. And then this is math for middle school, and I just wanted to point out the reason, 34%, the average stayed the same, but once again, there was improvement because that group score improved. Okay. We'll go to the next slide. Okay, so high school's a little different because, in high school with our block schedule, we don't test them in the beginning, middle, and end of the year because they, you have English first semester, you won't have it second semester. So we still wanted to be able to test and track our students' growth in high school. So the high school students, if you had English or math first semester, you took it at the beginning in September, and then they took it at the end of that semester. And so that's why the chart is set up a little bit different. So you can see the reading is on the left, and so I have ninth grade, the percentage at or above grade level in the fall, in September. and then 73, she went from 69 to 73, same for the 10th grade, so it's just right underneath each other. For reading, and then on the, right-hand side is the math. And I have 9, beginning of this semester and end this semester. And so, once again, we have shown improvement across the board. All right, we'll go to the last slide I have for you, and this is just an update on where we are at this point in time with the EOCs. And remember, we consider passing C or above, even though D is technically passing on a report card, because the state only recognizes C or above as passing. So if we were to put in those Ds that were technically passing, these percentages would be higher. Even though I don't think you get much higher than that in English. But that was really good. But I will say for algebra, this is about on track for where we were this time last year. It's very similar, even with a different teacher, very similar. English 2 has improved. That's fantastic score, fantastic. And then US history is also about as comparable to where we were this time last year, and we are expecting improvement in that as well as in algebra. And the biology is slightly higher than where we were this time last year already.
And you all know where we compared to other schools last year, because you've seen it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any questions about any of that?
All right, before I conclude my report, Connie just sent me this. Last year, we had 61 people signed up at this point. This year, we have 183. So those are the two numbers for the same day from last year and today. And that concludes my report.
That's good.
I have one question, I'm sorry, for Shelley. Shelley, how do you feel about the sports?
Like in math in general, I think that we're very much on track. As long as we keep, I feel good about them. One, because we have improvement across the board, and that's what you want to see. You know, I mean, you expect children to grow. That's the minimum expectation. But we want to continue to push towards that, meeting those national norms, because that really gives us, because as we said before, the South Carolina standards are even harder than that. So if we're meeting those national norms, we're staying higher than we should be. So I mean, I feel really, I think it's a really good indicator of how they'll do. It's a very close indicator of how they'll do on the SE rating. But I feel like as long as we can continue to see these meetings, meeting or exceeding the national norms, we're getting close to them and showing the improvement, that we're in good shape. And principals, you don't have anything you want to add to that, or?
We're meeting our goals. I mean, we're at 76% in middle school, 76% of their kids met their goal in reading and math for mid-year. So, I mean, we're right on track for where it should be or a little above.
And we're not putting on the brakes. We met last week and we're putting our foot to the gas. We're unrolling some new things and we're not gonna get slack. We're gonna push it even harder over the next couple months to get the results that we want. So we're not slowing down. Our foot is on the gas pedal.
Anybody else? Questions? Comments? All right. Thank you so much. All right. Do you want to talk about the calendar?
Yeah.
Does everyone have a copy?
I have a copy of the calendar.
If you have that, yeah, sir. Thanks, Rod.
Anybody else need one?
Get with it.
Just real quick, if you look at this calendar, it's almost exactly like last year's calendar. We are different from the 7 districts in Spartanburg in only one way. Our calendar is almost exactly like theirs. We have the same time off for spring break. We have election day off, 4-day weekend. We have the only difference is we're starting on the 9th, which is a Wednesday, My teachers have told me they don't want to start on a Monday and do 5 days in a week. It's just too much for them. So we're starting on the 9th. Spartanburg, other school districts are starting on the 14th. And they're gonna go a whole week. The only other difference is in December, we are out for 2 weeks, very similar to what we did this year. The other Spartanburg County districts are gonna go the 18th, 19th, and the 20th to make up the 3 days that we do earlier. I have talked to many of our teachers. All of my teachers said they'd rather go early. Most of my teachers are female and they do most of the work before Christmas. They want their time off before Christmas to be able to do the things they need to do for Christmas. So we really like our calendar. Our graduation would end up on May the 17th. And our last day of school would be the 24th. And our last work day would be the 28th. There's 180 days and 10 staff development days in the calendar. And it's almost exactly like last year's to the day. And I really thought this year's calendar was a good calendar for our staff.
Any questions or comments on it? Yeah, like how you added that color code for report cards and progress reports down the bottom there.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the 2023 and 2024 academic calendar as presented? Alex, second, Antika. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion passes. All right. And now we go into executive session. Can I get a motion for that? Amanda? Second, Alex. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right, go into executive session. We'll take a 5-minute break.
Mr. Vice Chair, that was our- Mr. Vice Chair.
What? You can take 10 minutes if you want. We're already in executive session. Whatever happens, happens.